Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this Thursday Night Football Showdown slate. We got the Buccaneers going to Carolina playing the Panthers. Should be a really good matchup. I think that Tampa Bay might be able to even redeem themselves after that horrible game in San Fran. Or I think that one was in Tampa, but either way, they looked horrible against San Francisco. So now here they are on the road, though, in a division matchup. I think they have to make some noise. If they don't, it's going to be tough times in Tampa. But without further ado, though, as always, please comment below if you have any questions for me in regards to DFS, your season-long league. Let me know. I'm happy to give you advice and help out if I can. My Twitter will be linked in the description below. Make sure to tweet me if you have any in-depth sort of questions or anything crazy. It's the best way to get in touch with me sooner than later. And then without anything else, let's jump right into it. And starting off here at the top, Christian McCaffrey, run CMC, well-deserving. At the highest price tag here on the slate, and most likely the highest drafted captain, I would think, on the slate for cash, for tournaments. Speaking of tournaments, when it comes to tournaments, I think we're going to see some split prizes tonight, more so than usual with showdown slates, because I think Run CMC as captain will be. I think him right here in the lineup. Forget everything below it. I think this is one thing in the winning lineup of the main GPP. For the showdown slate. So for that reason, I think we will see more split prizes than normal. But we're going to focus more so on cash in this video and double ups, cash games, things like that. I do love Christian McCaffrey. He will be my captain for cash. I can tell you that now. Below him, I think it's a necessity to plug in one of the quarterbacks. If you think Jameis Winston's going to redeem himself, by all means, it's a good play to make. He is only $600 cheaper than Cam. And Cam had a rough week against the Rams last week, but he had a pretty funny conference or whatever where he said, I think Coach Ron Rivera took Christian McCaffrey as his running back in fantasy, which I thought was funny because of McCaffrey's volume. It was just absolutely ridiculous. It was like 19 runs, 11 targets. It's just unreal, the usage he's getting. And like I said earlier, well-deserved. He's just a freak athlete. So I think Cam Newton being paired with him is good with how often he gets targeted. He was the number one target of Cam last week. DJ Moore was a close second with 10 targets. And obviously those are a little bit longer ADOT than a running back like CMC's are. But they're still not super deep throws or anything like that. I don't hate DJ Moore on this slate at all. I'm just not going to have as much of him as a lot of other people might. I see this being another Christian McCaffrey game, and unless they go up by a lot of points, I don't see them pulling him out. And I think McCaffrey and Newton could link up on a long touchdown or something like that maybe. But I like having both of them for sure. So these two are pretty much cash locks for me. And then after you take the highest salary player and captain and then the number two also, you're going to have to come down kind of low for a few. Carolina's kicker, Joey Sly, I picked him up before last week in all my season-long leagues. Big fan of him. He was looking great, even though he missed a field goal last week. I'm not too surprised about it. I don't even remember how long the one he missed was. But I will be taking Joey Sly in cash. I think he is a solid way to get points in this game. One thing with the Panthers, for whatever reason, it feels like they might not be able to finish a lot of drives sometimes. And even against Tampa's horrible defense, I feel like we might see some of that here on Thursday night, and I think that Joey Sly might be able to get a couple solid field goals in. And then if you want to come back up, I do think that if you're going to have these Carolina players, granted one's a kicker, I do think you need to run it back the other way, though. You got to assume that Carolina's probably going to be leading division matchup at home. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Everybody loves Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin this, Chris Godwin that. I've heard it from my season-long leagues. I've heard it from DFS. Last week, everybody loves Godwin. This week, I'm sure people love Godwin on the slate here, the showdown slate. I don't know what it is, but I'm just not as high on him as everybody else is. And Mike Evans is 1,000 more. And on a showdown slate, 1,000 is quite a bit. Just give me Mike Evans. Even though Jameis Winston's only 800 more than Mike Evans, I still see Evans outscoring Winston. I don't see Jameis Winston throwing 300 yards against the Panthers D. If he does, good for him. I will have shares of him at captain and in my normal lineups. So, I mean, by all means, I'm not super concerned with it. But I do see Mike Evans having a ridiculous ceiling, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns sort of ceiling. So I want Mike Evans in this lineup. That only leaves us with 3,700. And now this is a play that a lot of people are not going to like because it was one lucky run against the Rams where he scored a touchdown, Alex Arma. I just have this feeling that it might be a blowout. A lot of people might have the same feeling, but not as strong as I do. Maybe I see Tampa Bay's offense from last week, and I compare that to Miami. They have a lot more talent than Miami does, but I mean they just looked embarrassing. San Fran does not have a good defense. They don't, and they looked amazing. Obviously, they still have Richard Sherman, but I mean, Alex Arma though I think is actually a decent play. If you're not going to take him, then Bonifon. One of these backups somewhere down here, I think it's a good punt play to make. I'm not going to punt with Chris Hogan at 2,000 or this Agumbawale guy. I think that's how you say it. I haven't really heard any commentators say it. I'm not quite sure. I think he had the highest snap count out of any of the Tampa Bay backs last week, maybe. I think it was snap count. He only had 5 targets, 4 catches, I believe. 5 targets, 4 catches, 33 yards, 7.3 points. Not too bad, but if I'm going to punt, I'm not paying up for a punt. I'm just going to say, give me Alex Arma. Hopefully he gets a touchdown. If not, and he gets 0 points, 1 point, okay, that's fine. I have CMC as captain. This is more of a cash lineup, and I think that this is the way to play it because you got to have somebody running it back, and I think Evans is greater than Godwin, and then I want to pay down for a punt here. That way I can come right back, and I'm going to get Curtis Samuel. That way I have one of Cam Newton's favorite targets. We have 2 of his targets. We have somebody to run it back with. We have Carolina's kicker, and then we have just a punt, a backup running back for Carolina. If they do blow him out, maybe he just gets like some random touchdown. That would be huge. This is what I'm thinking for cash for this showdown slate. If you do want to run more GPP-oriented lineup, I still see McCaffrey being your captain. If he's not, for me personally, I'll probably have him 70% captain in my lineups. Maybe like 5% Cam, 5% Jameis, and we'll say 10% Cam, 5% Jameis, and 15% Mike Evans, and then 70% Christian McCaffrey. But for me, if I'm making a GPP lineup, I'm just doing it like this. I'm doing that. I'm not taking Godwin. I can't afford Godwin there. Maybe go like O.J. Howard. Basically, McCaffrey and then just Bucks. McCaffrey and the Buccaneers. Maybe even take... if Olsen misses, this would be a really good play to make right here. Be able to get Ian Thomas maybe. Let's see. There's kickers, 3,400, and then leaves you with 14. You can go punt with Arma again or any of these low guys. I think that's the best GPP play to make is to go basically McCaffrey, no Cam Newton, basically just stacking the Bucks. Another good play I think that could also end up being one of the better lineups tonight is to not even captain McCaffrey and captain the Panthers defense. And I think this is going to be seen by a few people, but not as many as I don't think it's going to be as common as some people think. If you take the Panthers defense, McCaffrey, Cam, and then I still think you have to run it back with somebody. So give me Mike Evans. And then I think we could even go Samuel. And yep, we can go Samuel, and then we can go Joey Sly. I think that's a great lineup too. I might have some shares of that even in cash. I prefer the one where we had McCaffrey as captain, but this is basically just saying Carolina just blows out Tampa. And then, you got to run it back with one of the Tampa guys. Give me Mike Evans. I think he's going to have a good game on Thursday Night Football. But without anything else, I'll leave y'all with that. If you do have any questions for me, please let me know in the comment section below. I am very good about getting back to y'all there. And then if you want to get in touch with me a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker, the best way to do that is through Twitter. I will have my Twitter linked in the description. And I look forward to watching this game, and I will be back by Saturday night with a video going into my final thoughts on Sunday's main slate. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like on the video, and we'll see you soon.